Hello and welcome back to Aurora Falls. We're back in Railroads Online and we have quite the job to do today. I've just got the train hooked up here and we're going to be taking a load of cordwood up to the steel beams and rail production area, the steel beam and rail industry. But first we got to pick up the cordwood. We're back in the Mastodon, which is my level 7 train here. This is a DLC train you get if you get the DLC. I think it's a great train, so definitely I'm loving it at least. Just gonna make sure that all the brakes are off. You know, sometimes I have the first or the last brake on depending on how I stopped it, so that looks good. Now to get to the sawmill, we are going to be going the long way around, but you're going to get to see my yard. That introduction shot itself was a nice overview of my rail yard, but if you'd like a full tour, I can give you a better tour in a future video. Now there's a lot of interchanges here, so we want to keep our speed about 10 kilometers or so, 10 miles per hour. So this is the back of the yard here, the back of my train depot. I make it so that you can enter and exit from any direction. It makes things a little bit complicated on the map with all the switches, but it does work quite well. But I do try to leave from the main direction, the one that you saw me come in and out of in the previous video. picking up some steam here. This is one of my favorite areas to go over. It's this nice little lake here. Oh, yeah, I remember now. We're going to the, not the sawmill, we're going to the lumber depot. To get the cordwood, we get that from here. So, I was wondering, why aren't we turning there? Sometimes you forget between filming and narrating. Yep, we're just gonna pop on in and we're gonna get a load of cordwood. Now the unfortunate part about the cordwood going to the iron beams and rail industry is that that particular dock, unloading dock, is sort of a dead end, so you can actually only load or unload 3 cars at a time. So it's probably, so far, it's kind of a hassle because you can't just pull through and do 12 loads of cordwood, 12 cars of cordwood. You have to do it 3 at a time. I've seen online some people have done it where they've managed to, I guess, make it a pull through. But for me, it's just a dead end. So, yeah, slow and steady with the cordwood. That's, I guess, how it is. But that's okay. This game is really about taking your time. There's no rushing in this game. Now, if you have the game and you're just starting out and you're wondering about, so many of the starting trains are coal powered, but it actually takes quite a while to get coal in the game because you have to get wood to the sawmill, from the sawmill to the iron ore mine, from the iron ore mine to the smelter, from the smelter to the coal mine, I guess. The coal has to be fabricated. It can't be, it's not mined like the iron ore. Although the iron ore, it's not free. You know, you have to bring beams and planks to these iron ore mines. So it takes a long time, is what I'm saying, to access coal. But when you buy a coal train new, it's full of coal. So you might have a few thousand liters of coal or whatever the unit is. And So it should actually last a long time before you need to refill it. So you can do a lot with a coal train before you need more coal. But I do recommend having some wood burning trains as well, because you can get firewood for free. It respawns infinitely, so you'll never run out of firewood. And you can get a lot of good trains up to level 7 that run on firewood. Here we're going up the incline. This is a great little area here. But the Mastodon has no issues climbing up here. Even if one of the train cars has its brake on, sometimes I forget to take the brakes off, and I can still pull up a full load. I mean, what is a full load for me is really a maximum of 12 cars. So far, I haven't tried to push any more than that, but I don't mind doing a few extra trips. Here we're coming up to a pretty nasty spot in the rails. I have a serious dip there, so I need to really slow down when I'm going through here. I like to pass this area at a maximum of about 10 miles per hour. You can see where the dip is. I'm just worried if I go over it too quickly, I'll derail. It's a very nasty spot. Just checking the water here. The Mastodon does go through water pretty quickly compared to other trains. I don't know if that's just because it's a higher level train, so it consumes more water, but I'm really going through the water quite quickly. There it is up ahead. Now I've got a second shay here, and this is a shunting shay just for this job. So we're gonna unhook this here. And we're gonna unhook it in the middle. Just looking for the brake, there it is. Okay, now begins the process of moving this cordwood in. I like to keep things full, so when I use an industry, I like to essentially fill it right back up again with material, so it's sort of, the further I get into the production chain, the longer it will take to refill the industries, because you have to refill one to refill one to refill one, and then you have to refill that first and second one again, and then you have to refill that first one again, just to keep them all full. So this shade is quite easy. I know it's out of wood here. Now there's still pressure in the boiler, but I will be using that pressure up because there's no new heat yet, so you'll see the boiler pressure will go down, but it'll come back up again by the time I get it down too low. Now I started with the Shay, that was my first train, and I regret it quite heavily. It's a nice train, it has the best traction power out of the 3 starter trains, but it's also slow. It's so terribly slow that if you were to try and legitimately get to level 4, which is essentially when you get enough money to actually buy a second train, a good one, it'll take forever. So just know that the Shay is a great train for shunting, but it's not great. I think the Montezuma was probably the best train to begin with because it has good speed and it has pretty good traction effort. This is great traction effort, but the speed is unbearable. But I do like it because it's a gear-driven train, which you can see I have all the gear-driven trains. I have the Shay, I have the Heisler, and I have the Climax. I think in order of when you buy them by level, it goes Shay, Climax, Heisler. I forget. The Climax is a good train. The Heisler feels even slower than the Climax, so I would not recommend that particular one. I really wanted to replace it very quickly. So when I had the opportunity, when I got to level 7, I was so thankful to be done with the Heisler. I thought it was it the Heisler or the Climax? Whichever one you get later. I just didn't like it. It was not quick at all, had no speed, and I just didn't really see myself needing that extra traction effort when it's so slow. So that's why I bought the Mastodon. Far superior, but I do like to have it in my collection because I really do love the concept of gear-driven trains. So now we're just going to use the Mastodon to pull these train cars out of the way, and then we will have access to our second batch. So we have the that there, the pin. Now, if you go through a switch from the fork direction, the switch will automatically switch to the direction you're coming from. But it's good to just be in the habit of switching it manually when you can, because if you go through a three-way switch from the fork direction, it will not switch for you, and you will derail. It only switches for you if it's a two-way switch. So it is good to just get into that habit of switching it either on your map or manually. Now I still have the brakes on that car, so that's why I'm going so slow, but the Shay can pull it even with the brakes on the one car. Okay, now we're just gonna hook up those last 3 cars and we will be ready. Okay, that about does it for today. I think we'll call it there. It's not a big job, but it's an important job, that's for sure. Well, I gotta thank you for watching today's episode, and if you enjoyed it, do consider liking and subscribing. And there will be more where this comes from, because I do quite enjoy this game. Oh, don't forget that break there. Must have forgot that too. Yep, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Next time in Aurora Falls, we will be taking material to the coal mine.